I'm going to review the new Acer Iconia dual screen laptop. The cool thing about this laptop is that instead of having just one screen, it has two screens, and both screens, top and the bottom, are touch sensitive, and they support a 10-finger touch on both screens. There's a lot of applications that support 10-finger touch, and so I'm going to show you that later on. I want to start off with the specs of this laptop. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the specs, I'm just going to tell you what I think is important. This laptop is run by Intel Core i5 processor. It is the first generation i5 processor. And what I've read is that if they use the second generation i5 processor, that the battery life would be a lot longer. This laptop runs on a 4-cell lithium-ion battery. Just running normal applications like the internet, it can run for about 2-3 hours. And considering that it has to power up two screens, it's not that bad, but I always keep it plugged up. This laptop has 3 USB ports and an HDMI port. But other than that, there's, the regular headphone jack. I want to show you the gestures that the Acer Iconia has built in. Like if you put your hands in your 5 fingers in a circular pattern, you'll get the Acer ring. And then these Acer ring, you get different touch application like touch video, touch photo, touch music, touch browser, social jogger, scrapbook, and my journal. There's also this gesture drawer here, and you can program it to whatever you want, such as if I make this symbol, it'll launch the webcam program, which is, here's the webcam program. Let's say I want to open Photoshop. I do the P sign, and it'll bring up Photoshop, which is right here. There's also the gesture, which you take all 10 of your fingers, you put it on the screen, and it brings in the on-screen keyboard. There's also another way, just in case you don't have 10 fingers, you can put your palm like this, and it'll also bring it up. And if you're really lazy, I found out that if you put your hand sideways like this, it'll also bring up the keyboard. So you don't really need 10 fingers. They say that you do this 10-finger thing and then it'll bring up the keyboard. But there's other ways to do it, like putting your palms together and putting your hand sideways like this. It won't work if you do it like this. It'll just bring up the Acer ring. One of the main reasons that I bought this laptop is the multitasking ability. Instead of having a keyboard right here, when you don't need the keyboard, you can just take the keyboard off and do something else. You can watch a movie on the top screen, and you can maybe type your paper or surf the web, do your homework on the bottom. And with a pretty good processor, you can actually do that. One software to mess around with right out of the box is the Microsoft touchpack that comes built in with this computer. And this showcases the touch capabilities of this laptop. I want to show you Microsoft Surface Lagoon. It's a screensaver, but with this screensaver you can really see the 10-finger support of this laptop. There's 5 fingers. You can see my 5 fingers doing the ripples, and you also have this, and so you can see that it supports all 10 of my fingers. Also included with the touch pack are a lot of games. With Microsoft Rebound, it allows you to do 2-finger touch, and then you can have a friend do the other finger, and it's kind of like, what do you call it? Table hockey, except much more complicated. I found this program by fingertapps, and it's called Instruments. It has 3 different instruments you can play with. There's the piano, drums, and the guitar. The piano, you can play from 2 octaves, I think it's 2, and then all the way up to 4. And fingertap supports 10-finger support, so you can use all 10 of your fingers and actually play a piece. If you want to make the keyboard bigger, you can do it. Yep, beautiful music, yay! That's one semester of piano class. Just kidding. But I did use technical terms, octaves, yeah. I did learn something from last semester. There's your drum set. You can also record your music if you get really good at it. And you also have the guitar. So instead of bringing all these instruments like a piano, guitar everywhere with you, you have it on your laptop. And I bring my laptop everywhere. So while I'm waiting for something, I could be practicing some piano pieces, or I could be learning the guitar. If you're a graphic designer and you're considering purchasing this laptop, you're probably wondering how well does it work with Adobe software. Well, if you're one of those graphic designers that has to have the pressure points, then this laptop is not for you. I'm a graphic designer myself, but I work primarily in vectors, and so I don't need to use the pressure points, and I knew that it doesn't have pressure sensitivity when I was purchasing this. You can use the trackpad, and I think it's easier to use the trackpad rather than drawing on the screen. It gives you the feeling of a Wacom pad. Or you can just draw directly on the top screen. But again, there's no pressure points, and so if that's what you're going for, then this laptop's not really for you. How comfortable is it to type on this virtual keyboard? Well, surprisingly, it's not that uncomfortable to type. It's not the same as a physical keyboard, but I actually typed a 10-page paper on this virtual keyboard. It wasn't a bad experience. Your hands will get used to it maybe after a week or so, and you don't have to look at the bottom screen the whole time. For some odd reason, your hands will know where to go. I don't know how it works, but it just works that way. Most of the other reviews I saw pointed out that the trackpad is way too small. And yes, it is pretty small, and since it's a virtual trackpad, it should have been larger. But I found a solution to keep your hands from wandering off the trackpad. You can see that I put a clear screen protector on it where the trackpad is supposed to be, and so your hands will know where the trackpad ends, and so that helps a little bit on keeping your hands where the trackpad is. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Acer Iconia with my old HP TouchSmart laptop. You can see that the Acer Iconia is slightly larger. The Acer Iconia weighs about 6 pounds, and this weighs about, I guess, 4 or 5 pounds, so there's not really much of a weight difference. Some people say that the Acer Iconia is a little bit heavy for a laptop with 2 screens, and it is 15 inches. It's not totally heavy. You're not going to break your hands while carrying it. It's okay. One thing I don't like about the Acer Iconia is that you can't flip the screen. Unlike this, where you can turn the screen, you can't really do that with this. As fun as the Acer Iconia is, I'm thinking about returning it. I'm so glad that I bought it this holiday season, and they have an extended return policy. After a couple of days playing with it, I'm already getting blue screens. And also, this may be a defective product, because if I turn it a different way, sometimes the keyboard would type by itself. And that gets really annoying, and you had to turn off the laptop, do it again, and then you turn it the wrong way again, and it starts typing by itself. I did contact the Acer support, and they told me to download the latest driver, because that is a common thing with these laptops. I downloaded it, and it was still doing it. And like all supports, their best answer was to do a system restore or reset. I did that, and it's still doing it. So I'm guessing that it's not a software problem, it's a hardware problem, because I don't think this has one of those motion sensors in it, but when I do it the wrong way, I'm not sure if it's gonna do it right when on camera, because it never does it when you want to show it off. It does it whenever you're in the middle of doing something and you'll have to restart your computer trying to fix that. Again, this may be a defective product, and I could send it back to Acer and them give me a new one, but I think I'm just gonna go with a Lenovo tablet. When I was researching on new laptops to buy, it was between this and a Lenovo ThinkPad. And the Lenovo ThinkPad, while it doesn't support a 10 touch, it only supports 5 fingers, and some of the applications like the piano application won't play to its full ability. Lenovo seems like it's a pretty sturdy laptop compared to the Acer. This is the first generation of the dual screen, so I'm just gonna wait to see if they do a second generation and they fix all this problem, fix that it has a media card reader and maybe a Bluetooth, because this does not have Bluetooth. And I hope that Acer is pretty reliable, but this Acer Iconia has disappointed me, and I hope that they can fix it and let it have pressure support, because I don't know if normal people would want this laptop. I think if they aim it to graphic designers or designers, they would get a bigger audience for this laptop. And so that would mean that they would need pressure support for both screens instead of just 10-point finger touch. And so that's my review, and I hope you find it helpful.